And welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and today we have another unscripted video. In today's unscripted video, we'll be talking all about the Lemurians, about the phenomenon of Lemurian seed crystals and record keepers, the Lemurian Facilitator and Seed Crystals Attunements course that's available from Mayastar.net, and a new meditation track that I've channeled for connecting more powerfully with Lemurian energy. As usual, I come armed with notes but without a script, so we'll be meandering around the topic and pursuing the scenic route to enlightenment. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around and while away about half an hour with me today as we investigate these things together. At any point, if you have questions or topics you'd like to suggest for future videos, please leave them in the comments below or contact me by email through the Mayastar.net website, and I'll definitely consider them for future videos. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to subscribe and switch notifications on, because I upload 3 videos for you every week. And on top of that, if you subscribe to Mayastar, you'll also receive the daily spiritual guidance with affirmations that are shared to the community tab every single day, along with inspirational quotes and some of my artwork that I hope you'll enjoy. You'll also find my music on the releases tab on the main channel, where you can find different mixes of the meditations that are released by video and which are streamed on the main channel every day from around 4 o'clock in the afternoon until about 7 o'clock the following morning. And you can find the 12-hour versions of these on the Lives tab if you go to the main channel, so you can use those for background music while you're working, meditating, sleeping, studying, reading. They're generally down-tempo and quite relaxing. But some of them have quite a shamanic beat, because I do favour a shamanic beat, and you may find those are beneficial for while you're studying and focusing on something, or even dancing if you are a dancer, which I am. So yeah, I use my own music quite a bit for dancing and my own ritual practice. The ancient Lemurians are believed to have lived on an island continent in the Pacific in prehistoric times. The Lemurians are believed to have left their island home when the sea level began to rise. This wasn't a massive catastrophe in the sense of the myths that come to us about Atlantis, where everything was lost in a very short space of time in a great disaster. Rather, for the Lemurians, this was a gradual process, and some of the Lemurians stayed on Earth and relocated to different places, usually South America or the south of the United States are considered locations that they may have gone to, but people have suggested that they actually turned up in all kinds of places because they had other means of travel and other kinds of spiritual technology that allowed them to move from place to place energetically. Some of the Lemurians are considered to have returned to their star homes. Because of this, they have a strong connection with the Pleiadian light beings. The Pleiadians are believed to live transdimensionally in the location of Alcyon, which is the primary star of the Pleiadian system. And those who chose to relocate to other dimensions, higher dimensions, are there to support us as light beings, akin to ascended masters, and often working closely with the Pleiadians will bring you into contact with the Lemurian light beings. It may even be that they are some of the same people, that if you feel connected to the Pleiadians, you will probably enjoy a deep connection with the Lemurians, and vice versa. It's also believed that the Lemurians settled in Southern California in the location of Mount Shasta, which is also connected with the Pleiadian light beings. Pleiadian light beings are also associated with the Avalonian light beings that exist transdimensionally in the location of Glastonbury Tor in the UK. These are both very powerful energetic sites. Both Mount Shasta and Glastonbury Tor are points at which energy is concentrated, and both locations are often considered chakras of the world, powerful centers of energy that we can tap into, not only for our healing work, but also to connect with our ancestors, with the elemental beings that look after the planet, with different sorts of light beings, and with the fairies, and who the fairies are elemental beings. So I'm expanding on that. So sorry if I'm being repetitive, but yes, all of these beings can be connected with more easily when you're around sacred sites, and these energies are very much tied to the land, and that's something that you need to consider when you're working with the Lemurians. Their energy is very much connected to the planet itself. Their concerns and cares relate to the well-being of the planet, and spiritually to the ascension of the planet as a whole. Because it's not only people that are going through a process of evolution, spiritual evolution takes place for all creatures, all spirits, and for the planet itself. The planet can be considered to be a living organism, the way all of the energies combine together and the system works together and creates harmony when everything is functioning properly, in a similar way to how we can function optimally if we balance our energy and keep that life force energy flowing throughout the system. So let's get into Lemurian seed crystals. What are they, and what are they for? If you are one of the people that believes in the reality of the Lemurians, and as a Lemurian priestess, I most certainly do, and you're looking to learn about them, you'll find there's absolutely nothing in the history books that can help you. There's very little information out there. Most of the lore is passed on through attunement courses, such as those that I channel and provide to students through Mayastar Academy, such as the Lemurian indigo connections. Some of the Wheel of Light starseed activations were very focused on Lemurian energy, the Lemurian starseed and the Lemurian goddess Amara. The rainbow sequence healing technique was also channeled through Amara. There's the Amara Omni Empowerment, Lemurian seed crystals attunements, Lemurian facilitator attunement, and the Light of Lemuria attunement. I think that might be all of them, but yeah, there are a lot of different attunements that provide you with techniques you can use to connect more deeply with the Lemurians. And because the Lemurians have a powerful connection to the planet and are focused on our spiritual evolution and awakening, they can also provide you with a lot of support and guidance in your own spiritual path. I would say the Lemurian indigo connections is a particularly good attunement if that's something that you're new to. It gives you symbols and mantras that you can work with, and you'll also find a meditation that I channeled for working with those energies on the YouTube channel and the podcast, as well as for the Wheel of Light starseed activations. They all have their own meditation tracks as well. And so you can, if you're attuned to those energies, you can then use the meditations to activate those energies more simply and increase the flow of those energies for you. And even if you're not attuned to them, you can still use the meditations, even if you don't have those codes imprinted in your energy field. You will still be able to enjoy them. You just won't have such a powerful effect as if you were attuned to them. And if you do want to become attuned to them, all of the courses that I'm talking about are available on the Mayastar website at mayastar.net. Now I'll quickly mention that these are distance attunement courses. There are no time limits for completing the course. The course includes a manual that is sent to you by email, and you can read that at your own rate, and an attunement that is sent using the Orb of Life method, which allows you to receive it at your own convenience and in the comfort of your own home, without making an appointment or anything like that. Another thing I would mention is if you wanted to learn light language, all of the Wheel of Light starseed activation courses and the Lemurian indigo connections all include light language mantras that you can work with to get you started in that regard. The Lemurians were very spiritual people, and they worked a lot with different crystals. And one of the main crystals they worked with is clear quartz. Clear quartz is considered to be a full spectrum crystal. The same as white light is a combination of all the different colours of light. So the clear quartz is like a full spectrum crystal that combines all of the different frequencies in one, and as such, clear quartz can be used to amplify the effect of other crystals. Clear quartz is also a very good crystal for programming because of its full spectrum nature. It lends itself to all kinds of applications, and sometimes quartz crystals are found in locations where they're not usually found, such as in areas where there's a lot of sand, but the crystals don't seem to be growing attached to anything. And it's in locations like that that people find what they believe are Lemurian seed crystals. And whatever you believe about these crystals, whether they are from the Lemurians or not, if you hold the intention that you want to connect with the Lemurians, working with clear quartz is a good way to do this. If you find a quartz point that has stripes all down one side, sort of ridges, these are considered record keepers. And it's believed that if you hold one of these crystals while in meditation and run your finger or thumb across the ridges, you can unlock the hidden information that's contained in that crystal. Now, whether the crystal is really programmed and you're actually getting the information from the crystal, or whether the crystal is acting as an antenna and helping you to connect with Lemurian light beings on an energetic level, which I think is probably more likely, it can help you to develop a relationship with the Lemurian energies and to find guidance and information on your spiritual path and for your own healing journey. And the meditation track that's coming out on Wednesday but will already be on the Releases tab and will also be on Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes and your favourite music apps with all the different mixes, so you can choose the version that you prefer. And for this one I would recommend the Ocean Waves mix as being one of the more powerful. That if you like a heavier sound, the Thunder Drum mix might suit you better. This meditation will be released in video format on Wednesday, and it's for connecting specifically with the energy of Lemurian seed crystals. So if you have a clear quartz crystal, if you have a Lemurian seed crystal, you're very lucky. I've got one too, but I feel very lucky to have it. But working with your Lemurian crystals or just a piece of clear quartz would be a good way to enhance that experience of working with the meditation. And I know there must be some people listening to this video that want to connect more with Lemurian energy, because for the first time on the community tab on this channel I put out a poll to ask you what you wanted me to release next, what sort of meditation you were after, and it was the Lemurian energy that won. So I listened and we're working with Lemurian energy this week, which suits me well because the light language that I channel is Lemurian, and when I'm working on music and creating meditations, I'm very much connected with my Lemurian guides. It's a sacred process, communicating energy in different ways. Light language is only one way of communicating energy. You can do that through art, dance, anything creative really. You can communicate that spiritual energy. So if you do have a particular crystal you would like to work with to connect with the Lemurians, I would recommend, if you're receiving one of the Lemurian-centric attunements from me, to hold the crystal during the attunement process so that it also receives the light codes that are transmitted during an attunement and is able to resonate with those, so that when you're connecting with them in future, that experience can be amplified by the crystal and further amplified by using your crystal with the meditation when you want to connect with those energies in the future. And the more often you do connect with them, the more powerful the flow of energy will be each time you reconnect. You can also learn about other crystals that can be used for energy healing through the Ethereal Crystals course, which includes attunement to 60 different ethereal crystals. An ethereal crystal is the energetic source of that crystal. I like to think of it as sort of like a group soul, or a reservoir of energy for that particular frequency, and you can tap into it without the physical crystal being present, which can be a great way to work with more expensive stones like diamonds and rubies and emeralds, things where you wouldn't necessarily be able to afford them for working with for energy healing. But this would allow you to connect with those, and working with the ethereal crystals alongside clear quartz, because it can amplify the effects of other crystals, can be a good way to program a crystal. I think I've said that in a confusing way. What I mean is, if you have a clear quartz and you're attuned to ethereal crystals, you can use the clear quartz by connecting it with one of the ethereal crystals. So for example, you could use a clear quartz and connect it with the energy of diamond so that you could use that energy during meditation or energy healing work where you want to lay on stones sort of thing, or meditate on them, or program a crystal for a particular purpose. You could then charge the clear quartz with the energy of the stone that was most appropriate for what you wanted to program it for. So, for example, perhaps if you wanted to activate the third eye, you might think, oh, a piece of amethyst would be brilliant, but I've only got a piece of clear quartz, but that's not a problem. I can charge it with ethereal crystal's energy, and the clear quartz crystal will amplify the effect of that, because that's the nature of the clear quartz. And then that stone can be used as I would use an amethyst for the purpose of activating the third eye and that kind of thing. So clear quartz is very versatile for your healing practice, not just for connecting with the Lemurians, for many other things too. It's an essential stone really, because it can amplify the effects of other stones. The only thing I would say is you do need to cleanse it regularly, because it can take on the energy of other stones quite easily. So it is one that you do need to regularly cleanse. But you can do that just by placing it into a bowl of salt, or some people leave them out in the sun or in the light of the full moon to cleanse them, or hold them in running water, usually a source of natural water like a spring or a stream, to cleanse the negative energy and maintain the stone's integrity and potential. And because they're not expensive, clear quartz is very good for creating a crystal grid for your healing practice. This is a technique discussed in detail in the Ethereal Crystals course, but basically it involves laying out stones to form a grid, and the stones anchor the energy so that it becomes more solid, it becomes more of a structure. And then once you've created the grid using the stones, using visualization, you can make that into a 3D grid that surrounds you or surrounds the person that you're sending the healing to or the healing session is for. But you can also create crystal grids within your home for protection, to keep the energy of the space flowing naturally. And quartz is a good way to do this, although, as I say, you would need to regularly cleanse the crystals to make sure they didn't anchor in any negative energy or just residual energy that builds up over time. I think that's everything I wanted to cover with regard to the Lemurians and the seed crystals phenomenon. But I've got an important update to share with you for the Mayastar website. On the Mayastar website, if you're a regular visitor, you may have noticed a new course category has been added to the menu, and that is the Starseed Energies category, which includes all of the Wheel of Light Starseed activation attunements, which can now also be taken as part of the Starseed Energy Healer package and the Starseed Energy Healers Advanced Diploma package. And those options are available on the menu. So now the Starseed Energy Healer courses can be taken to count towards the degree programs if you want to become a Master of Energy Healing through Mayastar. All of my courses are accredited, and you receive a certificate with all of my courses. You don't have to upgrade to the diploma unless you're planning on practicing as a healer. Then I would recommend that you take the diploma option so that you can also apply to be accredited by the appropriate organisations, and I am able to corroborate your qualification, because the standard qualification I offer is the Certificate of Achievement, and that just confirms that I've sent you the attunement. The diploma option means you submit your written work, which is an essay about the modality that you're applying for the qualification in, and 3 case studies that are to demonstrate your experience of working with the energy, so they can be based on your healing sessions, your attunement session for that system, and meditations that you've completed, or ways in which you've used the energy. The case studies are to demonstrate that you've not only been attuned, you are able to use the energy, and you do have some understanding of what energy healing is and how it works for you. And that way you can receive a diploma certificate so that I can verify that you have received the attunement and you are using the energy. All the information on the certificates and the higher qualifications can be found on the Mayastar website if you want to know any more about that. In other news, I've been working with a new crystal myself, and it's not a Lemurian seed crystal, but I did get it to work with Lemurian energy more, and it's called Cavansite. And here it is. Let me introduce you to my new friend. Here we go. I don't think you'll be able to see very much on the camera, to be honest. Certainly not after I've applied the filters in the edit, but maybe you'll pick up the vibe. So here we go. Let's try this. I didn't do very well last time when I was trying to show you the opal. So let me try and put my hand behind it and see if that helps. God, look how the light reflected. There you go. Well, that's not bad, is it? Yeah. Oh, that was too much. Oh, losing my sense of direction. There we go. What do you think of that? So basically, this is a piece of rock from India, and it's covered in this white crystal with blue bits, bright blue bits, and it's very powerful. I've already found I can't work with it late at night because it will keep me awake all night. It seems to have a very powerful energy for focusing your mind. Had some quite crazy dreams for the couple of nights it was sat by my bed. Now I've had to move it over to the desk, but this is where I sit when I'm creating music, so that's what I was hoping it would help me with, but I think it's helping me with other things as well. We'll soon find out. I mean, when you get a new crystal, you have to wait for the crystal to communicate what it wants to teach you, how you're going to evolve together. I might be a bit of a weirdo when it comes to my crystals, because I do definitely think of them as being my friends. Is that a bit sad? But this one does look like it's got eyes, so, you know, what can I do? I haven't given it a name yet. I'm sure I will, but I also like to think about what will happen. This sounds a bit morbid. I like to think about what will happen when I'm dead. But no, what I like to think about is what will happen to my crystals after I've left the earth. Okay, after I've ascended beyond the planet. And I always think, well, other people won't think these crystals are important. They'll probably end up in a landfill somewhere. But because they're crystals, they're essentially rocks, and they might get crushed. Things might happen to them, but they're going to remain the same, essentially, for quite a long time after I'm not here. So that's something I like to think about when I'm handling crystals, is the fact that I'm only borrowing them. They're going to be here after I've gone. And that makes them seem even more magical to me. Other people might not find that, and they might think, oh God, I don't want to be thinking about my mortality every time I pick up a crystal. I'll have a breakdown. But no, for me it's sort of like a comforting feeling. For me, I find it quite a comforting idea that my crystals are going to be here after I've gone. And maybe one day somebody will find them and think, wow, I wonder how this crystal came to be here. It must be one of those old Lemurian seed. No, they won't think that. But I do wonder what will happen, because I do think that if you're somebody who's really into stones, you'll know what I mean. But you sort of exchange energy with them. Their energy imprints in your energy field, your energy imprints on their energy field. You have a real communion with your rocks, and it does make me wonder what will happen after you've gone. Will you still have some sort of communication with them? Will you still be able to, from the other side, pick up on some of the things that are occurring on Earth, because you've got these crystals that you're still bonded to, that are going to be present on the Earth for maybe even thousands of years, who knows? Wouldn't that be amazing? It'd be interesting. It's just a theory. These are just my random thoughts. The random thoughts of a complete lunatic, potentially. But if you're into crystals, maybe it's something you'd like to think about as well. Although if thinking about your mortality makes you depressed and worried, don't do that. There's no point in doing that. It doesn't make me depressed and worried. It makes me feel all inspired and in awe of the actual ground beneath my feet. Yeah, I find it amazing. And I think that's everything that I'm going to cover for today. I haven't got any questions for this week, so I was just going to meander around the Lemurians and talk about crystals a bit and introduce you to my new friend. So I hope you've enjoyed today's little talk. I hope you enjoyed your time with me. I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you're about to have another one. And I hope to see you back here again for another Unscripted. But don't forget to come back on Monday for the energy update and on Wednesday for the new meditation video. And I'll see you again soon. But in the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.